Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Samiti Namini Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Vishesha Sunnavadi Paschatadeshatarinim Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Radhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada 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 Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Gaur Pramanande Hari Hari Bol Hare Krishna Prabhus and mothers. Sorry, we have a few program going on today. Hopefully some people will make. So we are going to offer our Pushpanjali to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Parampara. Please join together. Om Ajnanati Mirandasya Genanjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namah Sri Chaitanya Manavistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadam Hayam Dadati Shapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Jutapada Kamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatanitam Tam Sajivam Sadaitam Savadhutam Parijana Shahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanitangsha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Sarasate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunnavadi Paschata Deshatarine Vancha Kalpataruvescha Kripa Sindhubhaye Vacha Patitanam Pavanebho Vaishnavebho Namo Namo Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Binda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we are beginning today with chapter 6 Bhagavad Gita by Srila Prabhupada. And last week we touched up to 24. So we began 6th chapter, text 25. If anyone would like to also participate in reading, you can. Otherwise, I'll continue. So before we begin the Bhagavad Gita, we can invoke the mercy of Lord Vasudeva to purify our heart so that we can perceive Krishna through his word. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritam Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Nashtaprayesu Abhadresu Nitam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistaki Mukankarati Bachalam Pangulangayate Girim Jatkripa Tamaham Bande Sri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Isharam. Would somebody like to read text 25, chapter 6? If not, Hare Krishna.
I can read.
Mother Janaki, nice to hear from you. Yes,
Hare
please
Krishna.
go ahead.
Sane Sane Uparamed Buddhaya Dhriti Grihataya Atma Samstham Manah Kritva Na Kinchadapi Chintayet. Synonyms: Sanaya, gradually. Sanaya, step by step. Uparamit, one should hold back. Buddhaya, by intelligence. Dhriti dhritya, carried by conviction. Atma samstham, placed in transcendence. Manaha, mind. Kritva, making. Na, not. Kinchit, anything else. Api, even. Chintayet, should think of. Translation. Gradually, step by step, one should become situated in trance by means of intelligence sustained by full conviction, and thus the mind should be fixed on the self alone and should think of nothing else.
Very nice. Okay. Purport?
Purport. By proper conviction and intelligence, one should gradually cease sense activities. This is called pratyahara. The mind being controlled by conviction, meditation, and cessation from the senses should be situated in trance or samadhi. At that time, there is no longer any danger of becoming engaged in the material conception of life. In other words, although one is involved with matter, as long as the material body exists, one should not think about sense gratification. One should think of no pleasure aside from the pleasure of the Supreme Self. This state is easily attained by directly practicing Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. It's interesting how Prabhupada said, easily attained. It is in a sense, but one has to be fully trained. For some people, probably it is very easy. So this section is called Realization of Bhagavan. Before that, in this chapter, we did from text 10 to went to first Brahman up to 15, then 16 to 23 is Paramatma realization. Now Bhagavan realization. So this is very nice, Bhagavan realization. And here in Bhagavan realization, this word sanai, gradually, sanai, step by step. So gradually and step by step means slowly, slowly, securely. I don't know if you ever went to a mud road, that there is a bricks. And if you miss the brick, then you step on a dirt and it's a wet clay and your feet will get muddy. So I saw in village, and so they're very carefully goes. They want to make sure that the next brick is good, but this bricks is strong enough to take another step. So in this path, you secure 1 feet. Okay, I'm fine where I am now. Then you go next step, little higher, and you want to realize further, or chant extra rounds, or meditate on Krishna a little more. So what you did before, you want to secure that, and then you want to step further. This is what Shanai, Shanai. Shanai, Shanai, gradually, step by step, as Prabhupada says. To come down to what? Why step by step? Because you have to come down to no more moving. No more moving doesn't mean physically you are stuck. Means internally you are not moving anymore. Your physical body is doing cooking, cleaning, job, whatever you are busy. But internally you are fixed. This is very nice verse actually, if you think very deeply. This is what we want all. That you can be in the midst of biggest problem in life, but you will not be disturbed spiritually. But materially, there could be crisis, like Jara Bharat. He was at the death by the Tyagis. They wanted to kill him, sacrifice him to Kali. But he was not looking for protection because he was inner connected. Practically, is it possible? Yes, it is possible. Prabhupada was inner connected. When this guy, David, in the middle of the night, showing knife to Prabhupada, and he said, I can kill with this. Prabhupada was not disturbed. He was not like, oh, I need to run away. What should I do? No. He always had a japamala next to his bed. So he got up and his japamala is just chanting around. And this boy went 2 times showing Prabhupada knife. He was into intoxication. So on 3rd time, Prabhupada says, just put it down, sit down and chant. Because Prabhupada knows what the conditioned soul, they are also belong to Krishna. So of course that boy ran away jumping through the window and ran away. So is this possible for all of us? You, me, and everybody, whoever is coming along in this Krishna concert? Yes, it is possible. If you ask me, are you in that situation? No. But I'm very much aspiring for it because it is what we need. Even the path, just by thinking to reach there, is very secure, very joyful inside. Outside, you still have problem in life. This is how we have to develop. This is what Mahaprabhu is not like all of a sudden one day you become pure devotee and from that day all the problem disappears. You are into spiritual realm, spiritual world. No, it's not like that. Even when Mahaprabhu was here, even when Krishna was here, material nature, it was conflicting. It is Krishna's nature, material nature, and he created this opposition. So they intensify our devotion. Just like I mentioned this before, the brakes and accelerator to drive a car are there side by side. And if you look at very technically, if you press the brake, you will never go the destiny because brake is not for going. Brake is for stop. An accelerator will take you there. But on the way, if you do mistake, brake will help you. Similarly, in spiritual path, in the material world, in spiritual world, there is no problem. Everybody is joyful 24 hours eternally. But in material path, this spiritual joy will come while the outside in flinching or trouble will be still there. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu quoted this, the nature of love of Godhead. Bhajye Bisho Jalamoy, Bhitare Anandamoy, Krishna Premer Adbhut Charit. The characteristics, nature of Krishna Prem, the Bhajye Bisho Jalamoy, externally looks like a poison inflicting. Take advantage of it. It's created, sanctioned by Krishna for you to take advantage. Means go inside you. We talked this morning also about it. Another class I was holding. That go inside, but to go first inside, first you have to block outside. Challenges comes in our life. If it is changing our own character nature, embrace it. Even it is unfavorable, embrace it. And if it takes you away from Krishna consciousness, then move out of it. So it's very simple ways. Some or other, see how you can be more close to Krishna. So Sane, Upara made to come down to silence. Come down to silence. Slowly, gradually, step by step, the word Sane itself conveys how does one does that. Buddha Driti Grihitaya. So the word Krishna used Buddha, Driti Grihitaya. Buddha means intelligent, as Mataji read. And how does this intelligent? You may wonder, like how this intelligent act. So actually, here intelligent means Driti Grihitaya, means determination and conviction. Driti means not moving. I am going to serve Krishna in this life. I want to surrender and I want to worship and serve him. Nothing can move me. This vow you take. This is called dhriti, dhritaya, determination and conviction. But then challenge will come, challenge coming only to test you. Testing whether you are loyal. Anybody can say, I love you. But when opposition comes, then it is tested. We love God, but where is the proof? Well, Maya creates the test. When Maya creates the test, it is our duty, responsibility to take shelter of Krishna more and graduate. Otherwise, we'll stay life after life, mediocre devotee. Next life, you can come back, you go on. Make this life your last life in this world. It's very nice. So this is very nice verse. So let's discuss few more lines here. Grihitaya also means we don't need only intelligence. We need intelligence sustained by conviction. For example, if I'm taking treatment, this treatment involves some painful procedure, say operation or anything. Now I am taking treatment. I'll understand by my intelligence that this treatment is going to cure me. That I convince myself. I must do it. Yes, I'm sick, I have to do it. But when I actually started taking the treatment, and initially it was uncomfortable, but it also cured me. And after that, I started getting a lot of pain. That time it requires conviction. Finally, I was cured. So both things are required, intelligence and conviction. If the intelligence is sustained by conviction, then there is cure. Otherwise, there is no cure. Potency to cure is still there. But since we sustain by conviction, example, like child goes to a doctor. I saw, child does not have the intelligence to understand that doctor's medicine will cure me. But Buddha, the mother, understands. Child feels that this infection is irritating. But after a while, he feels better. Yes, I will put it, then I'll take it. Buddha dhriti grihitaya means fix the mind on the soul. Mana means mind. Atma sangstam. Atma sangstam means situated on the soul. Then Krishna says, na kinchit api chintayet. Don't think about anything else. Sri Krishna is giving very categorical instruction. No kinchidapi chintaye, don't think about anything else. How it is possible, you may say? For someone to not think about anything else, it is by steady practice. Once one is convinced that actually material reality is deceptive. It promises pleasure and it gives misery. Then one will be able to focus and understand that actually I have to turn away from material reality towards spiritual reality. And now I have to turn from material reality to spirituality is by conviction and practice. So how we deal with it? You may think, it says shanei shanei, means gradually, step by step. You put a first step in spiritual life, you see, you feel comfortable, steady, then take another step. You go like that, one step at a time. No need to run in spiritual life, because the road is like a thorn, Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur says. You have to watch. If you don't watch, you get splinter, you won't be able to walk actually. So you have to pay really attention in spiritual path. And that's how it is. Because you are going against the current. Sense gratification and devotion are like opposite, two opposite river. So you are taking a wrong against the current. You have to stay strong to keep swimming towards spiritual life. Difficult. So we are going to, you may say, well, is there a hope? Yes. No, there is a hope. Because every day we are practicing devotional service. We are becoming stronger. I see within myself. It's not a faking. It's genuine, real. We are becoming pure. And we become pure and stronger, the purity will manifest. Say a person is fighting in match. He's knocked down, so he keeps practicing and trying, because the only way a person can win is by perseverance. Giving up is not the solution. Keep on going is the solution, step by step. That's why Srila Prabhupada says, as you read, by proper conviction and intelligence, one should gradually cease sense activity. This is called pratyahara, the mind being controlled by conviction. Meditation, cessation from the senses should be situated in trance or samadhi. Okay, so let us go to text 26. Would somebody else like to read? Or Mother Neha, Mother Janaki, you can? Or Mother Puja join too? Good. Would you like to read 26?
I can read.
Okay.
Yato yato nischalati manaschanchalam asthiram tatastato niyamyaitad atmani eva vasham nayet. Yataha yataha, whenever nischalati becomes verily agitated, manaha, the mind, chanchalam, flickering, asthiram, unsteady, tataha tataha, from there, niyamya, regulating, etat, this, atmani, in the self, eva, certainly, vasham, control, nayet, must bring under. Translation: from whenever the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. Purport: the nature of the mind is flickering and unsteady, but a self-realized yogi has to control the mind. The mind should not control him. One who controls the mind and therefore the senses as well is called Goswami or Swami, and one who is controlled by the mind is called Godas or servant of the senses. A Goswami knows the standard of sense happiness. In transcendental sense happiness, the senses are engaged in the service of Rishikesh, or the supreme owner of the senses, Krishna. Serving Krishna with purified senses is called Krishna Consciousness. This is the way of bringing the senses under full control. What is more, that is the highest perfection of yoga practice. Hare Krishna.
Very good. Thank you. This is a beautiful purport too. So on this verse, very nice. Jata jata nischalati. Wherever and wherever and whatever. You could translate that way too. Whatever and wherever. Jataha, jataha. So nischalati means when and wherever mind wanders. Describe, come in Bhagavad Gita like jada jada hi dharmasya. Similar means whenever and wherever. Jada, jada. Jatah, jata. Similar. So similarly, jata jata nischalati, where and whenever mind wanders. Whenever means sometimes the mind wanders on the most inappropriate times. Like you wake up middle of the night and you wonder, like, why did I wake up middle of the night? What am I supposed to do? Nothing. You're just sitting here like dumbstruck. Or you just slept too long. It's like, why didn't I wake up for Mangalarti? So like that, this goes like back and forth. So whenever means sometimes mind wanders on the most inappropriate times. We are in the temple, in mind wandered to sinful thought. This is bizarre. That a person massaging Prabhupada's body, and he told me he was thinking, okay, I'm going to get married. My senses are agitated. So I said, you are massaging. Did you think that you are massaging? He said, yes. I said, so how did it work? Did you pull the mind back, but you kept on going massaging? He said, yes. I said, but what kept you going? He says, because I knew this is important, but my mind was like, those days I didn't understand. Now I can see my mind was saying, oh, go get married, settle down. No need to walk around with Prabhupada, travel with Prabhupada. So he said it was very bizarre. Before I never knew where the mind is and how the mind works. So then, of course, 20 years passed, Prabhupada left, then I kind of got lost in the drown into mental world and then came back. And I look at back, that was scary. How mind tried to divert. You can be giving service to Prabhupada directly, massaging his body, but your mind could just take you somewhere else. It's a bizarre in a sense. So similarly, we could be hearing Bhagavad Gita, your mind is thinking something else while you are hearing Bhagavad Gita. So sometimes maybe early hours, which is very conducive for spiritual progress, mind goes off. It does not matter. Wherever and whenever mind wanders, the point in this sloka says, bring him back, bring mind back. This you have to do. Mind will not come back. Neither Krishna will do that for you. All Guru will not do that for you. You have to do. This is where the sadhaka practitioners personally responsible. This is the nature of the mind. We cannot change the nature of the mind. I hope you understand all. It is not the fault of the mind that takes you away from Krishna consciousness. If you get burned by the fire and you say, why fire burns? It is not good. Don't blame fire. That's what it made for. Fire, inherent quality is burning. Heat and light. These are what made fire. So mind is made of chanchala astiram. In this verse, let's see what the verse says. Manas chanchala astiram. The second line you just read, mother. Chanchalam astiram means mind is made. Chanchala. Chanchala means thinking here immediately. Before you even grab it, going somewhere else. You say, okay, let me read this book. And after one sentence, okay, what about that one? Immediately you close this, going there. This is called chanchala. And astiram sounds like same, but there is little difference. We know it is going to happen like this. What should we do if you think? Whenever and wherever it happens, tata, tata, niyama ittad. Niyama ittad means Krishna is saying niyama. Niyama means regulate. I mentioned this before. Please practice this every day. You can practice. So say some thought came that you really used to like it. Okay, let me check the Facebook, or let me check message, or maybe chit chat or something. You may, but instead of that, control. Discipline. Try it. It works. It worked for me, it will work for anybody. You control within few minutes. As soon as you control, even though you didn't like it because you had a good impression, you like that enjoyment, but you try to discipline. When you discipline, after a few minutes, it goes to Sattva-gun. And it creates a good, peaceful, okay, I feel good. I can go back to sleep. Or whatever it is. I can go and study. Whatever you do, you can go back. So whatever something disturbs, chanchalam astiram, if you just niyama, as Krishna suggested, means regulate. Regulate. When you regulate, it goes up, Sattva-gun. You don't regulate. You go with that flow, then it goes to Tamagun. Means later on you'll say, just simply wasted. Why did I do that? You'll be like regretting unnecessary. That's not purification in one sense, because I allowed it to go. So we know it's going to happen like this. Knowing that, we need to regulate. Then Krishna says, Atmani eva basham naya. Bring it under control of Atma. We should always focus. Who am I? The soul. Soul is very powerful, more powerful than this mind, more powerful than intelligence, more powerful than mind, more powerful than the senses. But then how come we come under the senses, under the mind? Because our connection to the consciousness, when we take that route, we focus and give importance. The moment we give importance, we come under. Instead of controlling, we go under, control us. Like negativity. You hear a dirty news or whatever, negativity. Negativity, you don't have anything. You can control it. I don't want to be part of this scandal or this rumor or this offense, whatever it is. No, I don't want to. Stop it. Done. But if you say, well, what happened actually? Tell me. Okay, this person is telling, this person yelled to me, this is going on, and after 10 minutes, 15 minutes, half an hour, then all of a sudden you see that person left, but your mind is like, why the other person did it? This is not proper. This is not this. This is not good. And it's like your own self-example, you can say, that you allowed. Now negativity is controlling you. How? Through the mind. Negativity will control you if you allow it to enter through the mind. That's their only access. You know, bandhu means the friend. If I am a bad guy, I have another bad friend. Through him, I can get another bad things done. So mind always invite those negativity, unnecessary, non-devotional things. But we have a superior position. We should always, third chapter, last verse, I remember we discussed here many months back. Evam buddhe param buddha samstabha atmana atmanam. Prabhupada says that the higher self means we have two self, higher self and lower self. Lower self is the problem, but we are also have a higher self. Higher self has to control the lower self. How? Through the intelligence. So this is the key. Srila Prabhupada talks about Godas and Goswami. I'm sure some of you heard this before. What is the difference between the two? Srila Prabhupada said in the purport, who controls the mind, therefore the senses as well, it's called Goswami. Is it the sannyas title? No. It is for every devotee. They have, in order to become Bhava Bhakta, they have to become Goswami. And one who is controlled by the mind is called Godas, servant of the senses. So Srila Prabhupada is using the interesting terminology here. Actually, both of them face the battle. It's not like if you are sense controller, you will not face the battle. Oh no, you will still face the battle. But the person who wins the battle is called Goswami. And person who loses the battle is called Godas. So first, in order to make determination, ask yourself, what do you want to? You want to win the war of Maya and go back home, or you want to be, doesn't matter, I'll just do whatever, I can't think. That is also not, when you say you cannot think, like somebody answered me that too. When you say you cannot think, it's a choice you're making. It's not like nothing will happen. Oh, no. Choice you're making not to win the war with Maya. You want to just hang around life after life here. That's your choice. Some people will say, I don't have time to think of God. That's a choice you make. Not that you don't have a time. You just don't want to focus on that. You will focus ungodly things. You will focus. It's not that focus will stop. No, you will instead of shifting to God, you will be keep on the ungodly, non-devotionally stuff. That's all. So when temptation comes, Godas will say yes, and Goswami will say no. Godas says, welcome, I was waiting for you. Oh, she sent me text. Oh, he sent me text. I like it. How are you? Send me your latest photo, this, that, and goes on. You allowing? Well, once you allow, sanction, you are responsible for the dominance of this. Now, to be honestly, majority people don't understand what we are talking about, because majority people are already drowning in it. Only those who are out of the water, they can tell you that which boat going to sink or which waves can really hurt you or what not, because they are out, they are on the bank. But those are already into drowning, they don't know which wave going to pull them up or take them down. So this is very important. Godas, sometimes Godas can also say later, this is not proper time, later when nobody is there, we will enjoy. So Godas' intention is to enjoy now. We see Srila Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur also, when the prostitute came to him at night, what did he tell her? Later, you can say yes, Haridas Thakur said that. Haridas Thakur did not say no, get out from here. No. He says later, we can enjoy. Let me finish my vow that I took to finish the rounds. But the difference was between him and Godas at our stage. When we say later, our intention is to enjoy, but we are just waiting for the night time. Srila Haridas Thakur has no intention to enjoy. He was saying later to simply purify her. So that when she will be purified, she will also become a devotee. So we have to see it from an internal perspective. So my question on this verse will be, I was thinking, are we training our mind in destruction or in concentration? That's the question you can take away and try to meditate on it. Each time we let ourselves get distracted, guess what? We train our mind in destruction. Each time we strive to concentrate, we train our mind in concentration. So this is from this verse I see. This is a lesson to learn. Okay. We're going to go to next sloka. 27. Would somebody else like to read? Mother Dandakes, do you have a Bhagavad Gita, or anybody else? Mother Neha or Mother Puja or Rico Eli?
I can read it.
Okay, Mother, go ahead. 27.
Okay. Prashanta manasam yenam yoginam sukham uttamam. Upaiti shantarajasam brahma bhutam akalmasham. The yogi whose mind is fixed on me verily attains the highest perfection of transcendental happiness. He is beyond the mode of passion. He realizes his qualitative identity with the Supreme, and thus he is freed from all reactions of past deeds. Purport. Brahmabhuta is a state of being free from material contamination and situated in the transcendental service of the Lord. Mad Bhaktim Labate Param, Bhagavad Gita 18.54. One cannot remain in the quality of Brahman, the Absolute, until one's mind is fixed on the lotus feet of the Lord. Savai Manaha Krishna Padaravindayo. To be always engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, or to remain in Krishna consciousness, is to be factually liberated from the mode of passion and all material contamination.
Very nice. Each part was so condensed. So let's break the sloka a little more. Prashanta Prashanta manasam hi enam yoginam sukham uttamam upeti santarajasam brahma bhuta akalmasham. So Prashanta, this verse has come for third time in Bhagavad Gita. If you look at that verse, Shanta is peaceful. Prashanta means completely peaceful, deeply peaceful. Manasam hi enam. We all feel actually our mind is restless. We want peace of the mind. But how we will get peace of the mind? We cannot have peace without the battle. When there is an enemy, the enemy has to be subdued. Then only we can have peace. So the mind is filled with agitating emotion that makes us restless. The way we get peace is by crashing the agitation emotions. So keep saying no to the temptation, keep saying no to greed, keep saying no to anger. When anxiety comes, say, no, I don't want to be in anxiety. Then gradually they will go away. We have to learn how to talk to our mind. You have to give positive and negative, then mind will get trapped. Mind don't go anywhere, became peaceful that time. Positive and negative. If you look at our song, Bhajahure Mana Srinandanandana, that Prabhupada sing that, Bhajahure Mana, oh mind, please listen to me. Why not you do bhajan? Why don't you serve to the Brajanananda? So mind said, what do you want me to do? It seems like having a conversation with mind. And that's how Prabhupada translates. It's interesting. So they say, Shravana Kirtana Smarana Bandhana. No, he gives first negative. What is the value of this? All this suffering, relative attachment to the material things, all going to cause problem. So the mind saying, what do you want me to do? Oh, you listen about Krishna. So like this, you give positive and negative, then mind will be trapped. If you give only negative, I don't want material, I don't want anger, only negative, mind will not be completely peaceful. It's good, but it's not best. Best is also give positive. Okay, I don't want to be angry, I don't want to be agitated, but I want to be peacefully chanting, I want to hear about Krishna. You have to give also side by side, positive and negative. Then mind will come under control. So in this stage, what does one contemplate? That's the question. Krishna says, Upeti Santa Rajasam, Santa Rajasam. One becomes very peaceful, very calm. Santa Rajasam, Brahma Bhuta Kalmasham. people come to Brahma Bhuta platform, which is akalmasha, no contamination. Kalmasha means dirty. Akalmasha means no contamination. So contamination constrain and constrict ourselves to the realm of matter. Constraints means limit. Our consciousness cannot expand to spirit. So when a person is filled with lust and person sees a potential sexually attractive person, then the person cannot see anything more than the body. Nearly impossible. When a young boy or young girl out of lust look at each other, they're not looking at the soul. It's impossible. They're looking at the body, matter. So as contamination constrain and constrict the flow, our consciousness to the realm of matter, that we have to think. Do I want to be there? No. They don't allow us to perceive higher reality. That is the problem. So constrain means it is like a choked. You know, if somebody choke you, practically when the contamination are no longer there, then flow of consciousness is expanded in terms of the area which it can cover. For example, in a pipeline, there is a choke. So water might have forceful flow, but when comes out of the pipe is very less like trickle, like that consciousness of the soul can expand over spiritual reality. But when the anarthas are there, anarthas drag down our consciousness and keep it at material level. So when one is akalmasha, means no more kalmasha, means anarthas or dirty, one is freed from contamination. Then one can be Brahma Bhuta stage, free from matter, liberated. One situate at that time oneself on spiritual platform. Now, Upeti Santa Rajasam, the next line it says, Sri Krishna correlates Prashanta Manasam, Santa Rajasam. Interesting, this word, almost rhyming. When the mind will become peaceful, when the passion is pacified. Rajasa is passion, Santa is peaceful. Santa Rajasam, when the passion is pacified, then the person becomes steady. Upeti Santa Rajasam, Brahma Bhuta Akalmasam. Beautiful verse, the way Krishna put the sloka. Akalmasam means there is no more contamination, there is no more suffering, there is no more misdirection of consciousness. This is what it is. Let's see if we can do one more, or we should take a question answer. Anybody has any further discussion? Otherwise, we can do one more. We have 7 minutes. Okay, no question. Then we'll do one more. Would somebody like to read 28? Today we're progressing very good.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I can read.
Okay, Mother Puja, go ahead.
6.28 Yunjan evam sadatmanam yogi vigata kalmashaha sukhena brahma samsparsham atyantam sukham ashnute. Thus, the self-controlled yogi, constantly engaged in yoga practice, becomes free from all material contamination and achieves the highest stage of perfect happiness in transcendental loving service to the Lord. Purport. Self-realization means knowing one's constitutional position in relationship to the Supreme. The individual soul is part and parcel of the Supreme, and his position is to render transcendental service to the Lord. This transcendental contact with the Supreme is called Brahma Samsparsha.
Very good. Thank you. These are beautiful words to meditate on. So here, junjam evam. When one engage oneself on what? Sadatmanam. When one engage oneself constantly in this way, then what happened? Yogi bigata kalmasha. In previous verse, Sri Krishna uses the word akalmasha. You remember akalmasha. Now here it says yogi bigata kalmasha. Here use yogi bigata means one engage oneself in this way, one becomes akalmasha. Same like before, previous verse. Then sukhena brahma sangsparsha. Then you will come in contact with happiness, brahma sukha, spiritual happiness. That comes from sangsparsham. Contact, the sangsparsham is often used for physical contact, but it means contact of any form. Sangsparsham, Brahma sangsparsham. What does contact with Brahma means? Actually, the soul is able to perceive spiritual reality, realize the spiritual reality. This Brahma sangsparsha is not that we go to temple hall and touch the deities. That is called touching Brahman. No, not exactly like that. It is not just a physical contact. Yes, if we get opportunity to touch the deity's feet is fine, but take the blessing, we are very fortunate. Opportunity to dress the deities is also very fortunate, but it is not primarily that is talked about. Sukhena Brahma Sangsparsham means we contact with Sri Krishna through the purification of our consciousness. I hope you understand that point. And redirection of our consciousness to the spiritual level of reality. So Sukhena Brahma Sangsparsham. What happens by that? Atantam Sukham. One gets the ultimate happiness, supreme happiness, atantam, sukham asnute. One gets the highest happiness. So Sri Krishna has used this in earlier. He said that when yogi turns inward, 521, 522, we discussed material happiness and spiritual happiness, I think last month. So similarly, that here yogis are moving forward. When yogi turns inward, yogi first perceive all pervading spiritual reality, the spiritual substance that underlines the material appearance. Then when yogi moves forward, the yogi sees something higher. And we'll see next verse talks about Paramatma realization more. So Srila Prabhupada mentioned in the purport, this transcendental contact with the Supreme is called Brahma Sangsparsha. This is very nice, the way Prabhupada put the purport. Sangsparsha means Jahi Sangsparsha Ja Bhoga. 522, I remember that verse. We talked about whole class on that verse. Bhoga means which has come in contact with senses, with the senses and the sense object. But here Sri Krishna is talking about entirely different types of environment. Brahma Sangsparsha means you touch, just like if you say Hare Krishna, you are in contact, touching the holy name, subtle form of God. Now the question arises, how spiritual experience affect our spiritual journey? When we embark on spiritual journey, we may read in wisdom text. Chaitanya Bhagavad, we are reading Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, about different devotees who have spiritual experiences, wherein they feel some ecstasy, sublime joy, glimpse, some extraordinary level of reality. We too may long for such experiences. While such longing is understandable, we need to be careful that it does not divert us from our spiritual journey. Now, to understand how we may get diverted, let's compare a spiritual journey to a mountain climbing. I don't know any one of you ever did that. Therein, The bottom of a mountain is like a material consciousness. And the top of the mountain is like spiritual consciousness. Now from the mountain top, we can see a delightful view constantly. Similarly, we can release spiritual joy constantly when our consciousness becomes steady, spiritualized, steadily spiritualized. During our way to the top, we might sometimes glimpse a good view. You know, halfway a mountain, you can look at, wow, this is beautiful view. Similarly, during our spiritual journey, we may get some ecstasy experience. If those sights or experiences inspire us to move on, that is desirable. But during mountain climbing, if we are looking only for good sight, we may go off the way or stop going up if the way takes us through dark, dreary areas. Similarly, during our spiritual journey, if we are looking only for spiritual experiences, we may go off the way or stop pushing on if we go through a dry patch wherein no spiritual experience are forthcoming. So be very careful. Pertinently, this verse is explaining that stresses, I would say few verses, 25, 26, 27, stresses the repeated refocusing on yoga practice, necessary to rise ourselves to the state of blissful spiritual absorption, which we'll do tomorrow, next Wednesday, 29 to 31, 3 verses. And we take us to spiritual consciousness is the express way of yoga practice. So I conclude here that we can be grateful if we get spiritual experiences, but we need to focus on moving ahead steadily on the spiritual expressway to rise to higher consciousness. And I hope you can take away this point, that seek not to get spiritual experiences, seek to stay on the spiritual expressway, and spiritual experience will eventually come without your separate endeavor. Okay, I end here. Anybody has any question or takeaway?
I have a question, Maharaj.
Yes, Mother Janaki.
The question was, we mentioned like that in order for us to be determined and steadfast in our sadhana, we have to basically speak to our mind to not get deviated. And therefore, the general understanding is that we have to constantly just dovetail any external situations or circumstances that are coming in our way. And we also mentioned that there could be material interactions or material attractions or material conditions that will sway our minds, thinking that that's what the mind wants. But basically, I just want to understand, how do we distinguish that it is material versus spiritual attraction?
Nice question. First of all, even in my life, I noticed that the more we have bad impression, more deeper the impression, more difficult to get out of it. Because like when you can identify the enemy, then it's easy to kill. But if enemy comes as a friend, then if I'm not identifying who is my friend, who is my enemy, then it's difficult to win against enemy. If the temptation becomes a friendly, like, well, I like it. Like one person, you can say Gurukuli boy, one person told me that he went into drug, But then he wanted to get out of it and he tried for a few months, he came out. Then one day he went to visit a friend and that friend was smoking marijuana. And he said, come on, just try one time. What's the big deal? When you go back, you don't have to, you gave up. So he's thinking, no, I'm not going to do it. No, it's very hard to give up. And then one day, 2 days, 3 days, one day he noticed his friend is very happy. He said, how come you're so happy? He said, because I just took it, just like a medicine a little bit. So he went for it. Then he became again addicted for a few months, even though he left his friend. So sometimes the impression is so deep of this temptation, even though we have a good intention to get out, but we cannot identify properly what is our enemy. Of course, he now got out, but it was hard struggle, very hard struggle. So, easy way to, you can say, any temptation, any non-devotional, where is going to take me? Is this desire or is this feeling going to take me to think more of Krishna or Guru? Now, someone may say, well, I didn't have any experience of thinking of Guru and Krishna is higher than what I am getting from sense gratification. Yeah, it's in one level in conditional life, we may say that. That is true. But as this verse was, last verse was explaining, don't look for immediately altering or replacing your lower taste with the higher taste. First of all, our determination has to be very clear. Doubt has to be removed through the association of devotee. And more we practice sadhana and good association, then we will be more stronger and stronger and stronger. Then we can immediately say, okay, this new desire just came. Will it take me to chant more or become more? No, then I'm not going to go. That time you can actually discriminate. More you are advancing through your sadhana. Sadhana is kind of like a inner force to separate illusion from the reality for the welfare of your own self. Future safety. I better put on mask. I better put on, in airplane, they say, you better take care of yourself before you take care of your child for an oxygen mask. Similarly, we have to learn how to protect our spiritual life. More we are practicing, then that inner conviction will come. That time you will start developing a clear idea. Okay, this kind of thought or this kind of association or this kind of pursuance will take me non-devotional. Yeah, I used to like it, but I don't want to go through again suffering. So immediately you stop it. And more we practice this every day, more we practice, more we practice. But in order to stay alive, we have to be spiritually fed, well fed. Were you there one time I was explaining like intelligence will guide you provided you protect the intelligent. Not like intelligence is eternally there to protect you. Intelligence will guide you so long you take care of the intelligence. So I was giving an example. Intelligence is like a bodyguard. Bodyguard will guard you, but if bodyguard never got enough sleep or food, when the enemy attacks, bodyguard may be sleeping. Who is going to protect you? So intelligence protects. Intelligence is next to super soul, next to Krishna, Prabhupada said, like a neighbor next door. So intelligence will guide us, but provided we also take care of the intelligence. How do you take care of the intelligence? Every day we have to hear Prabhupada's lecture or some Bhagavad Gita discussion, some lecture every day we have to hear, and good sadhana. Then intelligence stay healthy. Then when enemy comes, intelligence will say, yes, Mother Janaki, no need. This will take you away. Oh, this is good. No, this is good. Actually, this association with the sadhus will pull you up. So that discriminating power, intelligence will guide you. I hope that helps. Is that make sense a little more?
Yes, very much relatable, very much, because I'm in this same situation and I'm actually being very direct and honest when spiritual or material, actually it is coming in the form of material, but I'm dovetailing it to stick to the point where I am always clarifying the intention and the purpose of the discussion. If it is spiritual, I will entertain. If it is not, please don't waste our time. So I'm very honest and direct in that.
Very good. This is good. I'm very happy to hear that. That's very nice.
Yeah, actually, there is one like how we say, right? Matajis are supposed to associate more with Matajis and always be in the shelter. But the situation is that an individual is trying to learn about a lot of bhakti practices, and it is of the opposite gender. So I'm keeping my agenda and intentions very clear. I mean, don't waste my time, don't waste your time. If you have this topic to discuss, only then we can have any discussion.
Good. Good, because yes, it can be also a trap. Yes. Very good. I'm very happy to hear that you are very clear. Yes. And your sadhana will make the intelligence strong to keep you reaching the goal. Thank you.
Thank you, Maharaj.
All right. With that note, we'll end and looking forward to see you all next week. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Pancha kalpataru vishya kripa sindhavaivacha. Patitanam pavanebho Vaishnavebho namo namo. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Bhagavad Gita Zoom Bhakta Binda ki jai.